Don't you just love vintage frames? They just give me all the feels. So this one is actually very, very large. It doesn't look that big in the video, but it's probably about 3 to 4 feet tall. It's actually really pretty. The glass was broken when I got it, so I had to get a mirror cut for it. But this is the old Sirocco kind of stuff that was really popular in the 60s. I am putting a coat of gray chalk paint on here. The actual color and the brand is Dixie Belle's Gravel Road. It's one of my favorite colors. It's a gorgeous gray. And I am just going ahead and I did clean it first, washed it really well, rinsed it off, made sure I get off the grime, grease off of it. So we're just putting a thin coat of Gravel Road on it. We will end up doing a second coat of it just so that it's covered all the way. With all the chalk paints, you do need to do a 2-coat process so that it gets covered enough and, you know, gets in all the nooks and crannies, because there's a lot of nooks and crannies in this thing. So I did notice that there was some damage on the frame. It's got a couple of the little scrolly things right there that were broken, which of course, you know, it's old. It's probably 60 years old. So I thought to myself, how would I fix this? Well, I am a distributor or a retailer for Wood-U Bend. Wood-U Bend is a bendable composite wood that when heated up is able to be bent. So I had an extra piece. Now this is just a piece off of something that I used. I save all of my pieces of Wood-U Bend. Do you see when it's hot, it's totally bendable. So I thought, why not just take this and make a repair? Just see if I can make it look close. You know what? It doesn't have to be perfect. It's gonna be hidden more if I actually repair it as opposed to if I just left it like that, right? So I thought, okay, I'm gonna get some Wood-U Bend. Now Wood-U Bend can be glued on, and when heated up, it will stick. It's crazy, crazy stuff. It's one of the coolest products that we have available to us as furniture painters and artisans. It's just so fun to use. So I just took a scrap off of it, and when you heat it up and you cut it with an X-Acto knife, it cuts really, really easy. It will break if you try to cut it while it is cold. So I went ahead and grabbed some needle nose and I held it up there because I want to get this to stick. Now heat and the Wood-U Bend at the same time will create a bond, and it'll just stay in place, as you will see in just a second when I let it go. As it cools down, it will actually just adhere and stay in place. So I'm just going to put something underneath it to make sure it doesn't shift. And it's going to dry, and nobody is ever going to know that that was broken. Well, you are. And then just a little bit of gray paint, and it's very hard to tell, unless you specifically were looking for it, that there was ever a break right there. So that's your little trick for the day. I'm going to go ahead and layer colors on this mirror. The idea on these really high profile scrolly mirrors is to do a base coat and then start highlighting all of that raised detail. Now I like to go dark to light, and I will generally use 3 or 4 shades of the same color to give it more depth and dimension. Now what I mean by that is not the same color necessarily, like same shade. So I started with the dark gray, and now I'm doing like a tan. This is actually Dixie Belle's Burlap, and it's really striking on this, right? You can't see the detail until we start doing that. And let's talk about how we get this and how I get my brush to glide seamlessly over it. As you can see, I am putting my brush in paint, and then I am offloading it, meaning dipping it in paint and then kind of dipping it off the side and really working that paint in my brush. And then I'm taking a paper towel and I am even wiping off more paint. That is called a dry brush, meaning your brush doesn't hardly look like it has paint. So dip, offload, and then wipe it on a paper towel. What that does is allow, when you're using your brush, to basically just skim over the raised areas, because that's the only ones that I'm really concerned about. That's the only spots that I really need the paint to sit on. And then you're going to layer up. So we're going to use the next color, which is Dixie Belle Sawmill Gravy, It is in the same warm family as the burlap, and it's just a lighter shade. So load, offload, and then grab your paper towel and take some more paint off. And then this creates a dry brush. It's just the easiest way, and you can do this with just about any brush. My brushes are really fat heads, so it makes it easier for me. And what you do is you just lightly skim over. You don't press hard because you don't want it to go down to the gray. Whatever's raised up is what your brush is going to hit. It's so easy, you guys. Oh my gosh. This is so fun and so easy to do. It's just going to skim over the top. If you get the paint somewhere where it's not supposed to be, don't worry about it. Let it dry, and later on grab a little tiny artist brush and paint the gray back, and you'll never see it. So this is just super fun. It's a great way to add dimension, and you can layer up as many colors as you want. Sometimes I will do 3 or 4 shades of white because, believe it or not, the burlap was the first one. It's a soft tan. Then the sawmill gravy is a creamy, greasy tan. And then I will add another color, which is called fluff, which is a white. And it's just funny how by layering just a little bit, you're going to cover up the burlap, but it's still underneath there. So you're not going to do it 100%. But it's going to add depth and dimension and just start building it back up. It's going to make everything on this mirror absolutely pop. And this is real time. I did not speed up this part of the video because I wanted you to see how easy it is to just let your brush glide. You're barely using any paint. Dip, offload, paper towel, offload even more. Because if you have too much paint, you're going to end up going down into the crevices. See how you can see the burlap? You can see the sawmill gravy. See how it starts to build? Now right there I got a little crazy and I got it on the gray. We're going to fix that later on. We're just going to grab and just hit it with the gray real quick. So don't stress out about that. Oh, we're going to hit it right now. I just took a small artist brush, dabbed a little bit on, went over, easy peasy done. You'll never see it, right? That's the easiest way to go in. So don't fret about getting it on like the surface if you hit it. No big deal. Now, I thought that it'd be a great idea to add a little more character to this thing. So I do have these, they're called Posh Chalk. They're by Woodgie Bend. They are powders that you mix with the top coat and it makes a paint. So I wanted kind of a copper rose gold color. I'll have to look up what the colors are, what the names of them are. I do retail all the products that I'm showing you today. So you mix the powder, and I mixed 2 colors. I mixed a rose gold and a gold together because I wanted it to not be a super bright like pink rose gold. I want it to be more of a warm rose gold. Does that make sense? So I mixed the 2 powders together. This stuff is absolutely phenomenal. This is a powder that you mix with the top coat and then becomes a paint. And a paint that I am just taking a small artist brush and just hitting just some areas. I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'm just going to quickly hit little tiny spots, and I'll give you a close-up here in a second, that will actually accentuate all the details and give it a super elegant, warm, amazing, layered look. That's what it's about, you guys. It's about all the little layers, and then the whites and the burlap and stuff are just going to peek through from behind. And suddenly this piece goes from that gold, which was pretty, to holy cow, look at this piece. It is going to stand out and stand up to any decor that you have. I will reattach the mirror. I had to have one cut. That's not cheap, by the way. Yeah, I hate when the mirror breaks. So I'm just going to go around, and I'm not going to hit every little raised spot. I'm just going to hit a little bit of the detail here and there. I'm wiping off the excess, just the highlights, just a little bit, It's just going to give it that extra little punch that it needed. Yeah, it was gorgeous with the creams and the stuff on there, but it's even more beautiful now. Absolutely stunning, gorgeous, all of the above, right? Absolutely. Will go in anybody's decor in anybody's house. So don't be afraid. You could do the same kind of thing with like a gilding wax, but I really like how the Posh chalk powders work. I do have some of these in stock, and I will actually in the description put a link to purchase them from my website. But here's what it looked like when I was all said and done. Isn't it stunning? It just looks old. It looks worn. It looks gorgeous and not too overdone, right? I hate when people put too much stuff on them. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please subscribe and like. Like I said in the description, I will go ahead and link my website. Go out and be fabulous. Thank you.